There's a story circling the tennis world right now that sounds far more dramatic than it actually is. And unpacking the real version of it tells you something genuinely interesting about three athletes, what they value, how they handle difficulty, and what the summer of 2026 has actually meant for each of them. The headline version is this: Alex withdrew from doubles at the DC Open. Serena Williams reacted badly. The Williams sisters were left disappointed again. Tennis world stunned. That's the headline version. The real version is quieter, more human, and ultimately more revealing than any explosive reaction story could ever be. So let's actually tell it properly, starting from the beginning, because the beginning matters. To understand why this doubles withdrawal created any kind of reaction at all, you have to understand the summer the Williams sisters have been living through. And it has been, by any honest measure, a summer of accumulated heartbreak delivered in the specific way that sport specializes in, which is to say, slowly, publicly, and just when hope was highest. Serena Williams came back to Grand Slam tennis at Wimbledon 2026 after 4 years away. That sentence alone carries enormous weight. 4 years is a long time in any sport, but in tennis, where the physical demands are relentless and the competitive landscape shifts rapidly, 4 years away from Grand Slam competition is a different kind of distance. She accepted a wild card into the singles draw, and the response from the tennis world was immediate and enormous. She's back. The greatest champion in the history of women's tennis, back on the grass at the All England Club, the place where she won 7 of her 23 Grand Slam titles, where she has built as much of her legacy as anywhere on earth. And alongside the singles campaign came something that felt even more emotionally loaded. She and Venus were going to play doubles together. The Williams sisters, reuniting on a Grand Slam doubles court for the first time since 2022, 6-time Wimbledon doubles champions, 14 Grand Slam doubles titles between them. One of the most iconic partnerships in the history of the sport, stepping back onto the court together one more time. The anticipation around that was real and widespread and completely understandable. And then Serena played her singles match against Maya Joint, a 20-year-old Australian who pushed her to 3 sets and a tense tiebreak. Venus watched from the stands and described her sister's level as extraordinarily high. The quality was there. The competitor was back. And then the knee went. Serena had apparently felt something wrong before the final set, but kept playing without asking for treatment, without showing any visible sign of difficulty, because that's what Serena Williams has always done. She competes through things that would stop other people. The match ended. She walked off without crutches, apparently optimistic that she'd be able to recover in time for doubles. And then the swelling came. Fast and severe enough that the fluid had to be drained. Not with 1 syringe, not with 2. 4 syringes. The images she posted on Instagram afterward were stark. Her knee heavily wrapped. The 4 syringes lined up. Her daughter nearby holding a cane while Serena struggled to move. The doubles dream was over. She posted about it with the kind of raw honesty that Serena has always been capable of when the circumstances demand it, describing the opportunity to compete alongside Venus as a gift and expressing genuine heartbreak at having to step away. Venus, when asked about it, said what Venus always says in these moments, that it was unlucky, that she wondered how far they could have gone, that she hoped to get lucky next time. 7 Grand Slam singles titles, 14 Grand Slam doubles crowns alongside her sister, decades of professional tennis. And Venus Williams still responds to devastating disappointment with the word unlucky and a quiet hope for better circumstances next time. That tells you everything about who she is. So that was Wimbledon. Now fast forward to Washington and the DC Open, and this is where Alex enters the story in a more complicated way. Alex and Venus had played doubles together earlier in the season at Bad Homburg. They reached the quarterfinals. Venus called Alex her best partner, which from a woman who has partnered with Serena Williams for over 2 decades is not a throwaway compliment. She posted about it on Instagram in the way that people post when something genuinely delighted them. Best ride, best tournament, best partner, real enthusiasm, not promotional language. So when the DC Open approached and the possibility of the two of them partnering again arose, there was genuine excitement around it. They were spotted practicing together on the Friday evening before the draw was announced. Everything looked like it was in place. And then the draw came out on Sunday, and Venus's name was paired with Diana Schneider. Alex's name wasn't in the doubles draw at all. The partnership was off. Alex had withdrawn. And Serena, watching from home while still in rehabilitation, still with her knee wrapped, still processing her own Wimbledon disappointment, had finally had enough of this summer. Here's where the nuance matters, and it matters a lot, because the way this story was framed in certain corners of the internet immediately created a narrative that wasn't particularly fair to anyone involved. The framing suggested a dramatic falling out, Serena furious at Alex, the tennis world stunned, relationships potentially damaged, and while Serena's frustration was real and her reaction was genuinely emotional, the target of that frustration was not really Alex. It was the summer. The accumulation of a summer that had taken the things that mattered most to her and bent them out of shape one by one. Her return to Wimbledon, her knee, the doubles reunion with Venus at Wimbledon, and now this, Venus left without a partner again through no fault of anyone. Really, just the compounding difficulty of professional sport and what it asks of bodies and schedules. The anger needed somewhere to land, and the doubles withdrawal was the most recent thing. But directing it entirely at Alex misses what was actually happening. And the clearest evidence that the full story is more complicated than the headline version comes from Alex herself, specifically from the press conference she gave to explain her decision, because that press conference is genuinely worth understanding in detail. The room was packed. Journalists from multiple countries, everyone expecting either defensive justification or diplomatic non-answers. What they got was neither. Alex sat down and told the truth in a way that was so straightforward, it actually silenced the room for a moment. She said she had so much respect for Venus. That being around her, learning from her, spending time in her presence, was something she valued deeply and was genuinely grateful for. And then she said the thing that reframed everything. She said Venus is someone who deserves a partner who can give absolutely everything, physically and mentally and emotionally, every single time they step on the court together. And right now, in this first week back after everything the grass season had taken from her body, she didn't have the capacity to do that for both singles and doubles simultaneously. She could do it for singles. She couldn't do it for both. So she withdrew from doubles, not because she didn't want to play with Venus, not because the partnership didn't matter to her, but precisely because it mattered enough that she refused to show up to it at less than full capacity. Let that actually sink in for a second, because it's easy to skim past it and miss what it says about her. She's 21 years old. She just came off the most demanding stretch of her professional career, a grass court title in Birmingham, a semi-final in Berlin where she beat Rybakina and Svitolina on consecutive days, a fourth-round finish at Wimbledon where she defeated the defending champion on center court and became the first Filipino singles player to reach the second week of a Grand Slam in the Open era. Week after week after week of high-level tennis, all of it physically and mentally expensive in ways that accumulate even when the body feels fine in the moment. And she walked into a press conference at her first tournament back and said, honestly and without deflection, that her body wasn't ready to give everything to both events, and that Venus deserved a partner who could give everything. That's not a weak decision. That's a mature one. It's the kind of decision that players often don't make until they're much older and have the receipts of having pushed too hard on too many occasions and paid the price for it. The comparison to what Serena experienced at Wimbledon is unavoidable and instructive. Serena felt something wrong with her knee before the final set of her singles match and kept playing without asking for treatment because that's who Serena is, and because the competitor in her wouldn't allow any other response. She played through it. She won the game and lost the knee because that's sometimes what happens when you push through instead of protecting yourself. 4 syringes, a cane, a heartbroken Instagram post, and the doubles dream with Venus gone. Alex watched all of that unfold. She had been on tour for the same summer, had seen how the story went when someone pushed past what their body was telling them. And when she arrived in Washington and assessed honestly what she had left in the tank, she made a different choice. She said no. She protected herself and she protected Venus from a version of their partnership that wouldn't have been fair to either of them. The stakes question is also worth addressing directly because it's part of understanding why this decision made complete sense from a professional standpoint. Alex is currently ranked 29th in the world, a career high reached after Wimbledon. She's defending minimal points across the entire North American hardcourt swing going into this stretch. Every ranking point she gains here builds on a foundation that has been constructed entirely through performance rather than reputation, and a deep singles run at DC could push her toward the top 25 for the first time. The doubles draw, even with Venus as her partner, even with all the excitement around that partnership, represents a secondary priority in a week when the singular focus on singles gives her the best chance of making progress toward goals that matter enormously to her career trajectory. That's not a cold calculation. It's a professional one. And it's the kind of calculation that agents and coaches and experienced players make all the time, often without generating any controversy at all. The controversy here came specifically because of who the partner was. Because Venus Williams is not just another doubles partner. She's Venus Williams. 7 Grand Slam singles titles. A career that changed what professional tennis looks like for an entire generation. A presence on tour at 46 years old that still makes every tournament she enters feel more significant. And the association between her and Alex, the idea of the veteran legend partnering with the 21-year-old phenom who's rewriting her country's tennis history, carried a narrative weight that made the dissolution of the partnership feel like more than just a scheduling decision. It felt, to people watching from the outside, like something important had been lost. But Venus herself didn't seem to feel that way, and Venus is the one who actually had standing to feel aggrieved, since she was the one left finding a new partner at short notice. Her response at the press conference was the opposite of bitterness. She acknowledged that they'd had a wonderful time playing together at Bad Homburg. She said it was disappointing it hadn't worked out for Washington. And then she said she hoped there would be future opportunities, that she'd like to play with Alex again. That's it. No blame, no sharpness in the language, just the graceful, measured response of someone who has been competing professionally for over 3 decades and understands that the sport produces disappointments, and that how you carry them says more about you than the disappointment itself. Here's what's also worth noting about the relationship between Alex and the Williams family more broadly, because it adds a layer to this story that the headline version completely skips. Before Wimbledon, at the Queen's Club Championships, Alex spoke about Serena in a way that was genuinely striking in its reverence. She said that being on tour at the same time as Serena was something she hadn't expected to experience in her lifetime. That getting to witness it firsthand, to share space with someone of that stature and history, was something she would remember forever. She said that even without any direct interaction, just being on the same tour at the same time as Serena Williams would be an honor. Those weren't press conference pleasantries. They were the words of someone who grew up watching Serena Williams the way every tennis player of Alex's generation grew up watching Serena Williams, as the defining presence in the sport, the standard against which everything in women's tennis gets measured. The respect is real and it runs deep. Which is why, when you actually read what Alex said about withdrawing from doubles with Venus, the framing of it as a betrayal or a disappointment delivered without care completely falls apart. She cited Venus's greatness as the reason